Meanwhile, I do want to ask about mainland China. That nation reported its first COVID-related death since the start of the Shanghai lockdown. Now, according to state media, the three individuals were between the ages of 87 and 91, if I'm not mistaken. And this was actually something that broke the night before last. They also say those individuals had pre-existing health conditions. Any reason to think this might shift the nation's zero COVID strategy some more here, seeing as this is such an important issue, even for domestic investors here at home?
Yeah, no question, JD. I think there were actually two more fatalities last night as well that the authorities reported very late this morning. So we're getting to the levels that we've seen on both infections and fatalities that peaked in April of this year. So we are moving, or at least China is moving in the wrong direction with respect to its COVID policies. Infection rates are rising, and now we're seeing lockdowns and restrictions and other things spreading across a host of cities. So that probably puts any pivot from Beijing officials on their China COVID policies well into the future, and that's going to have ripple effects throughout, obviously, the supply chain, the export story from China, the domestic demand story in China, which is increasingly important for a lot of American companies, and the ripple effects it will have on global economic growth. But what we're seeing now, JD, is sort of tighter restrictions on travel in and out of Beijing. The capital city schools are closed. There's all sorts of business closures there as well. And we're seeing these restrictions spread, again, as I mentioned, to several other large cities, including many which are key to manufacturing supply chains, both and indeed technology supply chains. So moving in the wrong direction. I was surprised again to see market reaction because these numbers, which turned us red yesterday, are worse today than they were yesterday, but the market seems to be rejecting them for whatever reason. I can't quite understand. But that story, JD, I think is going to get more and more significant as we head into the teeth of December trading, because again, it's not the simple fact is that the COVID policies there are not holding down infections and in fact are more broadly holding down the economy as infections rise. And that's the kind of downward spiral that officials would like to avoid, but they're staring it in the face at the moment.